Hey everybody, and welcome to a Friday news blog here at Bamsters. It is September the 20th. The Modern Warfare cross-platform open beta is running, more AMD CPUs are leaked, Huawei has problems with Google Store, and Valve gets told off in French. But starting off, Amazon's Twitch streaming service had bought the IGDB, or Internet Gaming Database, with the intent of integrating its services into Twitch to provide more and deeper details on games to the Twitch users. IGDB was formed back in 2014 as a clone to the Internet Movie Database, or IMDb, to specifically focus on games. IMDb does cover some elements of gaming, most notably voice and mocap acting, but IGDB tries to cover almost all aspects of gaming. The website will be kept open and updating, with Twitch only using it as a backend, and the premium tier will be integrated into the regular free service of the site. Over in hardware land, things are looking less good on Android. Huawei recently announced its Mate P30 phone, and in a recent 2-hour presentation on everything Huawei, the company noted that due to the current ban on US companies doing business with them, they will not be including the usual Google app packages known as Google Mobile Services. Instead, the phones will come with Huawei's own solution, the Huawei Mobile Services. The biggest concern is that this means the phones will not come with the Google Play Store, cutting users off from the usual software and limiting them to the circa 45,000 apps that has been submitted and integrated into the HMS. The company has put out a $1 billion fund to help get more apps on their store, including helping developers port existing Android apps from GMS to HMS. The Huawei services and tools are new, and reports coming in from developers do point to a lot of teething issues, with many suggesting that some tools were released prematurely as a PR stunt. The phone themselves will run a version of the Android OS based off of Android Open Source Project, or AOSP. Other manufacturers and service providers have in the past tried to go without the Google Mobile Services, or GMS, such as Amazon, and some in especially Russia use Yandex instead of Google Play Store, but with varied success. Phones like the Yola Sailfish series use Android emulation instead of the complete system, and have also relied on their own store plus third-party stores for Android apps, while there have been attempts at sideloading the Google services onto Meizu phones via pre-installed tools. Google in turn have been working on cracking down on sideloading its software onto non-blessed phones, and are continuing to look for ways to protect itself from this practice. There's reportedly still hope at Huawei that the ongoing trade ban will be lifted, and they can resume using the Google Mobile Services, but for now they are working on improving their own solutions. Meanwhile, in the world of PC, things are getting interesting. Not satisfied with having a single CPU outselling Intel's entire line, AMD is seemingly getting ready to launch a cheaper set of 6-core CPUs, the Ryzen5 3500 and its bigger brother, the 3500X. These will reportedly be targeting Intel's 9400 CPUs, with the same number of cores, but quite a bit more L3 cache, especially on the 3500X, and a higher clock frequency. The 3500 CPUs will be hex-core, running at 3.6 GHz up to 4.1 GHz, and with a thermal profile of just 65 watts. The only differentiator between the regular and X version will reportedly be the L3 cache coming in at 16 and 32 MB, in comparison to the 9 megs on the Intel 9400s, which also runs at just 2.9 GHz. Add in support for DDR3200 RAM and a listing on a Chinese store translating to $155 and $195 AMD could be looking to take another big bite out of Intel's market share. It still remains for the 3500s to be properly announced and tested against both Intel's offerings and also AMD's Ryzen5 3600, which has been stealing the limelight for some months now. Personally, I am looking at the current 3600 non-X version for my next build, because it hits that current sweet spot of price and performance, but a 3500X might just upset that. And hammering home the bad news for Intel? An entry on Geekbench, which since seems to have been disappeared, showed results for a 32-core AMD Threadripper 3000, which stays mostly in line with past Threadripper results on single-core, but absolutely tears everything apart in the multi-core tests. Single-core results of 1275 is actually slightly lower than the 1334 points of Intel's i9 9900K, but a score of 23,015 in the multi-core test puts it at almost 3 times that of the i9 9900K, and past random appearances of the next Threadrippers point to a 3.6 GHz base clock and 4.2 boost. Most of us have absolutely nothing to use a 32-core CPU for, but those that do, this results seemingly from AMD's next enthusiast level CPUs, points to there being plenty of powers to be had. And I just have to contend with Drag spending the next few months pleading to get one of these, so we can put out videos 2 minutes quicker. The 3000 series Threadrippers have yet to be properly introduced, but look to AMD to be pulling out a lot of noise when it happens. And what to use all them cores for? Well, how about some shootering? Activision is releasing the 5th game in the Modern Warfare series next month, rebooting it with the first game and bringing along cross-play multiplayer. To test this and to make some noise ahead of the release, Activision has an open beta weekend right now where you can log in and try your skills at shooting players from other platforms. Now, doing crossplay across consoles and Windows comes with concerns and issues, most notably that mouse-keyboard players will dominate, and Activision has come up with a plan totally not ripped from Fortnite on how to deal with this. Firstly, players can opt in out of crossplay, meaning that there's no one being forced to play with players from other platforms. Secondly, you will be placed in queues depending on whether you play with controller or keyboard mouse, and all platforms will support both. Want to play on Windows with a controller? Go ahead. Want to use keyboard mouse on PlayStation 4? Absolutely an option. Thirdly, you can choose to be placed in a queue where control set doesn't matter, meaning any player can use either controllers or keyboard mouse, and may the best one win. And 4, crossplay will work in all multiplayer modes, but not in ranked play. And 5th and finally, you can access friends list across platforms to queue up with your teammates, but this will require a CoD account, which I'm sure will not get leaked by some fishy people. So it seems Activision is basically following the current gold standard for competitive crossplay and giving everyone a chance to play as they want, where they want, and with whom they want. Now just get that open beta downloading and sign up for yet another account and get playing. And if you're looking for something more relaxing, how about a Sojourn? Iceberg Interactive and developers Shifting Tides are releasing their fabulously looking and much anticipated puzzle adventurer The Sojourn today. In The Sojourn, you arrive in a mysterious land where lights guide you forward, and it's not long until the world reveals itself to be full of intricate and increasingly more difficult challenges. The game is set across 4 chapters and 4 distinct but delicious settings with accompanying music that seems designed to keep you calm while you deal with the puzzles, and is available on PS4 and on Windows via Epic Games Store, expected to hit Steam sometime middle of next year, and for us to rave about it some more in the near future. And finally, Valve and Steam has hit a rough spot in Paris. This week, a Parisian high court ruled against Valve on a number of points in a case that's been running for 4 years. The French consumer organization, UFC Qu'est-ce had charged that several of Steam's practices and rules were against EU common market rules. The findings sort of boil down to 1. Digital games must be resellable, i.e. once a Steam user is done with a game, they should be able to put it up for resale, though there's no indication the court specified where or how such resale should be done. 2. Steam users must be able to request any outstanding funds in their Steam wallet to be paid out, which will be good news for anyone either leaving Steam or who have sold off a lot of trading cards on the platform. It does, however, open up a few questions about the latter though. And 3. Valve and Steam must also accept responsibility for damages done by games to any user or their system, even if the game is in a pre-release state. Again, something that could raise more questions and concerns about what to allow on the platform. 4. Valve's right to content submitted by users to the platform, in the form of comments, reviews, and mods for games, will have to be restricted. And 5, and final, Valve will have to clarify the exact conditions under which users can lose access to Steam for poor behavior, keeping the company from just removing a user's game library without explaining exactly why. The court found that Valve's arguments weren't in line with reality, the company having pursued the evergreen of calling its services and products a subscription-based system. Valve has come out with an official statement that they intend to appeal the case, during which they'll not be subject to the ruling or the €3,000 a day fine it carries if not followed. Because the ruling is based on EU common market rules, it can be expected that Valve will be forced to extend the outcome to all 513 million people in the EU, though Steam users in the UK can rest assured that they will not be subjected to this if they leave the EU before the appeal has gone through. With the last case having taken 4 years, and Boris promising to be out of the EU by end of October, it's really anyone's guess as to what comes first. The resale of digital games is definitely going to have an impact on both the AAA market, which has been moving hard towards digital as a way to avoid resales, but also on the indie games market where it could end up cannibalizing crucial sales. Margins are already tight, and the market has been struggling with giving airtime to the literally thousands of titles released each year, which combine to mean that many good indie titles have lower sales than might be justified, and a hard time turning a profit. Now, on my side, if this does move forward, I am very much hoping it includes a cut of sales to the developers, but also that gamers will choose to not resell specifically their indie games, and that the business will move forward with a campaign to suggest just that. We here at BAMSys will continue to follow the case, though with an appeal it could take a while until there's more news. My name is Christian, but hey, you can call me G, and those were the news that we dug up for today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you feel lucky and want to try and win a random Steam key. Also, don't forget to check out our recent interview with developers Bad Joke about their game, Main Assembly, or really everything else in our weekly The Rated R show. See you all next week.